House of EdTech, Episode 62.
Hi, this is Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook, and you are listening to the House of EdTech with Chris Nesi.
This episode of the House of EdTech is brought to you by Audible.com. To claim 2 free audiobooks to add to your audiobook collection and support a show that you enjoy, go to chrisnesi.com/audible. Welcome to the House of EdTech podcast. I am your host, Christopher Nesi, and the House of EdTech explores how technology is changing the way teachers teach and the impact that technology is having in education. My objectives include discussing technology that is changing our classrooms and schools and sharing tools and tips that you can hear about today and use tomorrow. I talk to teachers, leaders, and creators just like you and have them share their stories. The purpose? Whether you use it or not, technology is changing the way we teach and how our students learn. And welcome back inside the House of EdTech podcast. It's just me. I am here at EdTechNJ 2016 at John Adams Middle School in Edison, New Jersey. Coming up in this episode, this is going to be unique because I have never done this in this format, live in a location, so you may hear some stuff in the background. I am here in the cafeteria of John Adams Middle School, which is very cool. Had a nice breakfast, a great opening keynote Ignite session from an Edison High School sophomore who talked about how we are using technology in our everyday lives and really how we as teachers can be using technology and benefit our students, and how we can encourage them to be prepared and ready for the jobs that are coming down the pike, so to speak. Of course, in this episode, we will have an EdTech thought, my EdTech recommendation, and of course, the House of EdTech VIP. Now, I have 2 pieces of featured content for this episode. I'm going to be sharing a conversation that I recently had with Meghan Davis from GoEnnounce.com. And if you remember, Meghan is a former guest of the podcast, and she appeared on episode number 46, which you can get by going to chrisnesi.com/46. And you can hear our initial conversation about the importance of digital citizenship. Meghan is coming back to us today because there are some really awesome updates to the GoEnnounce platform, and she wanted to share them here on the podcast. So who am I to say no? Also, we're going to be featuring some audio that I'm recording or will be recording during my session. I like to say stuff, and you can too, where here at this conference, I am talking and doing a session about podcasting and how really anybody can do it. So real quick, my setup today is I have the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 USB microphone, and I am recording into Audacity, the free open source audio recording and editing program that is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, and I am using a MacBook Pro 13-inch here at the conference. So a little different than my normal setup, not actually in the House of EdTech, but we have the mobile studio going. So I'm going to have some participants, or really as many participants as I can, answering some questions and capturing some audio. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys later on in this episode. Now for feedback, I've gotten a lot of really good feedback of late. I'm really connecting with a lot of you on Twitter, and I'm so happy to do that. And many of you have noticed that I'm trying to acknowledge my listeners. Not that I haven't, but I'm excited to do it in a new way. I have a Twitter list that I've created. So if I have determined that you listen to the podcast, I've added you to a list, and I want to be more engaged with the things that you're doing and tweeting. So that is exciting for me, and I'm acknowledging you every Friday with a Follow Friday tweet with all the listeners of the podcast. So if I don't know that you're listening, please, let me know on Twitter and say, hey, I listen, add me to the list. That would be awesome. If you have questions, EdTech questions, or a topic you may want me to discuss, you can do that by tweeting me using the hashtag House of EdTech. You can Vox me, Mr. Nesi, on Voxer, MRNESI, or you can call the old House of EdTech feedback line, and that number, as always, is 903-4869. I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon supporters, my awesome supporters, Peggy George, Mark Grindell, Jeff Herb, and Dan Gallagher. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. So your support is instrumental to the podcast. And if you would like to become an awesome supporter, just go to chrisnessy.com/awesome and you can learn about becoming a patron of the show. Another shout out to Mick Shuren at Mick Shuren on Twitter, MickShuran, and he is the host of the Leadership Technology Learning podcast. And I had a great Google Hangout with Mick this week, and we geeked out and talked about podcasting, and it was just really great to connect with somebody who listens to the show. So thank you, Mick, for reaching out. And of course, anytime we can get on a Google Hangout and talk podcasting or anything else in education technology. So thank you for reaching out. And if you're not or haven't checked out Leadership Technology Learning, go check out Mick's Twitter profile, and there's a link to the iTunes listing for Leadership Technology Learning. So go check that out. You guys are doing a nice job over there. And we do have a question that I'm going to be answering here from Noah King. Noah is an elementary technology coach, TOSA, teacher on special assignment in Livermore, California. And Noah wrote in, at each of my sites, at the end of the school year, each grade level team creates the class list that the next grade will use the following year. For example, the third grade teachers create the fourth grade classes, since they know those students well. They create a card for each student with all sorts of data on it, kind of like a baseball card. Their reading level, ELL, not ELL, boy, girl, things like that. Then they try to make groups that are as balanced and as equal as possible by laying the cards out into groups on the floor and trading cards back and forth from group to group until classes are as balanced as possible. And Noah's question is, do you know of any app, site, or tool that might be able to make this process easier? Now, I already responded to Noah via email, but I wanted to share his question and my response here on the show. So while I don't know of a specific app, website, or a tool that does this specifically, I talked to Noah about a workaround where you can get your grade level teams to maybe use a shared Google spreadsheet, load up all the kids' names, and have multiple tabs in the Google spreadsheet, and basically come up with a color coding system or a key and get that same data about the students into the spreadsheet, and then using the multi-sheet ability in Google Sheets like you could do in Excel, give each teacher their own sheet and have them make up what they think would be balanced, and they can collaborate digitally. Now, part of me also believed that the whole trading card idea was easy because you can sit there, you're all together, but that might be time consuming here at the end of the school year. Teachers want to, put in their work, and maybe they have other plans or things to do after school at this time of the year when it can be pretty crazy. So this is just a way to maybe really move the whole process online, and it's not really an official tool that'll do that, but I think that's okay, and I think it's worth considering. So that was my response to Noah, and that was pretty cool. So thank you, Noah, for sending in an email, and he did that by sending an email to feedback@chrisnessy.com, and you can do that too, or any of the other ways that you can connect with me. And now, my EdTech thought. This episode's EdTech Thought I am titling Summer Learning. Now, summer is a great time for teachers and educators to continue their learning. Obviously, one way is to listen to podcasts, and through things like Podcast PD, Stacy Lindes, AJ Bianco, and I have been talking I've been really talking for over a year now about, using podcasts to learn. And that's one way that teachers can get learning. When you go to the beach, you ride your bike, maybe you're going on that family trip and you're not doing the driving, you could throw your earbuds in and check out a podcast and learn about something. And there are any number of podcasts that you can check out to learn from, especially those on the Education Podcast Network over at edupodcastnetwork.com. Now, the other thing, and this has come up in my Ed Justice League Mastermind, and they're going to be starting a book club, a book group, a reading group. And Basically, they've determined that there are a lot of books that are on everybody's to-read list. So they are going to be reading things like Matt Miller's Ditch That Textbook and a number of other books. The point being, take some time over your summer vacation to explore new things you want to do in your classroom. Improve yourself as an educator. You have the time. It's not crazy with grading and conferences and all the other stresses that we have to deal with as educators. Summer is our downtime. It's a time where we can be reflective. And I hope that you, over your 8 or 9 weeks of summer vacation, do something that's going to make you better. And in you getting better and improving at your craft, you're going to make that much more of a difference for your students. Whatever you learn, please share it with me. What are your plans for this summer? How do you plan to learn? Are there conferences that you're attending? I'd love to know how you learn over the summer. So get those thoughts to me. Leave a comment in the show notes, or you can obviously email me, Vox me, tweet me, all those places that I am socially. And I would love to connect and learn along with you. And hopefully through the summer months as I produce the podcast, I'll be able to share some of my learning. And that's my EdTech thought. So I am here at the end of my session. I like to say stuff, and you can too. I had 4 awesome participants in the session. So as I said earlier, we're going to have some audio, and they decided that we're going to do a little mini app smackdown. So without further ado, let's go. Well, I'm live here, so why not? Let's try not to sound dumb. And I'm talking to me, not to you. So introduce yourself and share your tech tool tip or recommendation.
My name is Danielle Durso. I'm a teacher in Edison, New Jersey. And my Twitter handle is @MsDursoJPS. One of my favorite Google extensions is the readability extension. Being an English teacher, I find that it's very hard to have students look at articles online without getting distracted by ads or pop-ups. So the readability extension allows them to eliminate all of the confusion on the side and just be able to look at the article clearly without any distraction.
Where can people find this extension? What's the best place to go get it?
So you would just type into Google readability, and then you go to the Chrome store, and you can add that extension for free.
Awesome. And I do need to say that I met Dana when she was a student teacher at New Brunswick High School, and she is a phenomenal educator. She is relatively new to Twitter, so make sure that you do connect with her. Again, her Twitter handle is Miss Durso, JPS, and that's MsDursoJPS. Thank you for being on the program today, Dana.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next up, he's a man who is of few and little words. As I slide over here live, he's a former House of EdTech VIP, along with his wife. So if you pay attention to the program, you know that they're the only 2 people to be VIPs at the same time. So please welcome to the House of EdTech, Steve Isaacs.
Well, thank you, Chris. The app that I want to talk about that I just love is Snap Guide. I've been using it with my students quite a bit, and what it allows kids to do, well, for one, it allows you to find instructions on how to do just about anything, kind of like Instructables, which is another one. But Snap Guide is a really nice, easy-to-use interface for kids to create instructions on how to do just about anything using screenshots and step-by-step directions. I've become a huge fan. It gives the kids a chance to share what they've created with an authentic audience and also go through that process, which is not so easy for middle school kids to try to explain something step-by-step. Ensuring that all the steps are, easy enough to follow to get to the end product. And I would love for you to follow me on Twitter and connect with you. My Twitter handle is Mr. Isaacs. That's MR_ISAACS.
Thank you very much, Steve, for being here live on the House of EdTech. And he is pumping his fists like a kid at camp. I love it. Next up, and I think she's ready because she's been frantically scribing. So now I'll say things that are funny and throw her off her game. but please welcome also a former House of EdTech VIP, and I swear to the higher powers that she will eventually be a guest on the podcast for real. Please welcome Jill Dobrowanski.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. I am a director of curriculum instruction for Wall Township Public Schools, and the app I want to talk about today is the Voxer app. And this is a walkie-talkie messenger that combines live voice with text, video, and photo sharing abilities, which is new. It's available for the Android, iOS, Windows Phone 8, or your computer. And this allows you to connect, record, you can ask questions, you can get answers via the app. And you can connect with me on Twitter at Mrs. D122. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, Jill, and thank you for coming to the session. Last but not least, we have the fourth participant in the session, Mr. Dan Borghoff. And I saw that on Twitter, Dan specifically rerouted his whole agenda to be in the podcasting session. So I'm super excited for that. So, Dan, welcome to the House of EdTech, and what is your app recommendation?
Well, first of all, my name is Dan Borghoff. Like I said, I'm from Patterson. I teach in the Patterson School District. My Twitter handle is EdTechMaker, and I do a lot of maker-related things. So one of the websites that I use a lot, especially in education, is Thingiverse. Thingiverse.com is a service and a website that is run by the company that runs MakerBots, which are the most famous, I'd say, 3D printers out there. But the great thing about it is it's a repository for probably millions of 3D printing models that anybody can really put together, take down, put together themselves, fix if they want to, add to them. So you don't really have to start from scratch if you want to get into 3D design and 3D printing. So it's a really great place for newbies in such things to really get a handle on it without feeling like you have to start with just a box here or there, and really also see what other people have done so that you can aspire to that.
Very cool, Dan. I don't think I've yet had a maker enthusiast on the show, so now you're in the notes in my head to be a full guest. So we will have to work that out and put that together. I will not be in Denver. You couldn't hear that because I'm on a dynamic microphone. So Dan is going to be at ISTE. I will not. But I'll be all over hashtag not at ISTE. Will that work? So that's going to conclude this. You know, I don't know how this is going to fit into the episode. So here's another great transition here on the House of EdTech. So let's move on to whatever is next. So coming back to the podcast, this is like special insider information. I'm so excited to have her back on. Please, they're not here, so let's welcome back to the podcast, Meghan Davis from GoEnnounce. Meghan, how are you?
Good. How are you? Excited to be back again.
I am very excited to have you. You look great. You sound great.
Thanks.
So what's going on with GoEnnounce?
So we're really excited because I think last time we had talked, we were just the idea of the curriculum that we were developing for digital citizenship was about to happen and we were about to pilot it.
Yes, you were very excited.
Yes, and I'm not sure if we were ever able to, if we had at that point. I don't think we had. But now we have piloted the curriculum. The curriculum has been released and distributed as of January. It did very well, and that's where... So basically, we had developed a 10-course, in partnership with a company, EdTech, professional development company. We had developed a 10-course digital citizenship curriculum covering everything from digital security, digital literacy, privacy, copyright, digital footprint. GoEnnounce, our tool, which is thought of as like a LinkedIn for high school kids, was brought in a lot of the digital footprint exercises. And so the feedback when we started to go, because we had a lot of teachers coming to us saying, oh, GoEnnounce is the perfect tool to teach digital citizenship for college and career readiness. How do we bring it in? So we were really excited to finally have this curriculum and go in and bring it to educators. And we started to show them the curriculum and the platform together and realized very quickly that we really had something in the education system in the sense of licensing releasing our platform as well as the curriculum to districts for schools to be able to use it for, again, college and career readiness and digital citizenship. It's been very interesting where we're at right now to see where it's being brought in. A lot of times it's like the CTE budget. A lot of times they are mandated and held accountable for digital citizenship. So we're really figuring that out right now, who we're contacting. But what we've developed now and added on the platform and the features that we've included now, as well as like just GoEnnounce and the curriculum, we're really excited about. And so that's what I'm going to share my screen with you, because I just want to walk you through it real quick, just so you can see it.
Yeah, no, I was going to say,
yeah,
it sounds like it started out as one thing for you guys, and it's now turned into something even bigger than you thought.
Yeah, we were really always going to go traditionally for students. We've always been a free platform for students. That's never going to change. Students can go sign up for GoEnnounce, but now what we have to offer, the package that we have to offer districts and schools, is something a lot bigger. And so we're really excited about that, because the feedback we've been getting from educators and administrators is really great. And now that we have a pricing model behind it, which we didn't before, that's why we've been waiting to kind of release it. Now that we have a pricing model behind it, we actually haven't really seen any pushback on the price either, which we're even more excited about.
That means it's too low. No.
Well, we'll see about that. Just a reminder of what GoEnnounce is. GoEnnounce is a social safe is key too, because we've added a lot of safety features in. Safe social e-portfolio tool where students build their positive digital pathway for college and the world of work. It's safe because there's no private messaging, there's no address, email, phone number exchange. There is a filtering system that no profanity, inappropriate photos are allowed on the platform. If something is by chance missed by our filtering system, there's a human monitoring system as well. And then things are removed very easily. It's encouraging positive engagement because we allow students to own their own student pages where they're tracking and sharing all their educational and extracurricular activity. And they're also communicating with mentors and relatives. So when you talk about comparing us to a traditional e-portfolio, typically those are one-time use. They're done by the teacher and the student for 1 year, and there's nothing social about them. And so how we're really different is a couple different things, which I'll get into. But one of the ways is it's in real time every single year. We go as young as 7th grade now, planning to go younger now, which we're excited about. And they're able to communicate with mentors, relatives for positive engagement. And it is their own URL. We're starting to see students use this URL for college admissions, scholarships, because it's really creating this awesome digital representation of, oh, I'm in Key Club. Well, what are you doing in Key Club? Here's a photo of you participating in an extracurricular event, or, something with ROTC. It really is across the board of what students are passionate about and what we're seeing on the platform. So what we're offering now, which is a little bit different than in the past where we've been going traditionally to students and having students find us and sign up, we're going to the district level now, specifically high schools, offering our tool as a positive digital footprint tool for college and career readiness. Again, it's very different than a traditional e-portfolio. You're teaching the student to own this year after year, that this is their own URL that they can use for specific college admissions, scholarship applications. We actually had a student that wrote in that was really cool that she got accepted to the Make-A-Wish pilot program because of sharing her URL. So that was just like a testimonial in a sense of why kids were using it. This was another one. A student actually wrote to us, GoEnnounce has been live with high school students for about 2 years. A student tweeted at us that she loved this website because it actually helped me yesterday finishing my resume. Without it, I'm lost, because she was able to have all of her extracurriculars, volunteer hours, major academic projects saved in one spot. So again, people always ask, how are you different than an e-portfolio? It's the students owning their information, tracking real-time updates year after year, and in their own voice. Teachers are going to be able to create GoEnnounce pages as well, because a lot of times teachers want to follow their students on GoEnnounce and what they're doing. So teachers are going to be able to take, we have 13 different courses, a lot related to digital citizenship, flipped classroom, Chromebook essentials, Google app fundamentals, iPads in the classroom, social media for educators. They're going to be able to take these PD courses right from their GoEnnounce pages. Go through it's a 15-hour course. They will be a PDLN goes through and assesses it, gives them the badge, and then their school will get that right there and give them the micro credential upon the completion of it. We will also be able to offer the district a parent digital citizenship video available for their school district website as well. So then I don't know if we want to get into this at all, or if you have any questions for me, Chris.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
In talking about this new tier 3, basically the offering of GoEnnounce pages for teachers, aside from having access to the PD component, which is very cool, what else does the GoEnnounce platform offer a teacher?
Yeah, so it's really how actually we've been seeing it is a lot of times teachers are needing to build their almost like digital footprint too. A lot of times they don't have a LinkedIn or anything. So on their GoEnnounce page, they can talk about what they've achieved, who they are. So it's actually learning how to use a lot of time, build their own positive digital footprint. It's also an very easy way for them to connect with their students. If you were to right now, if you were to want to follow a student on GoEnnounce, like say Susie is a student, she's a 10th grader. She invites her Aunt Mary to start following her. Aunt Mary is just going to enter her name and email address and be a subscriber to Susie's updates. Right. Teachers, that's going to get really annoying. They're going to be subscribing to a lot of kids. So they're going to have their own feed of their own students to be able to see what they're kind of posting and doing. So it's going to be a way for them to see what they're doing with their students' digital footprints.
Will the teacher profile pages also give teachers access to the fundraising platform part of GoEnnounce? Say, yes, I want to raise funds for my course.
All those features we're not going to disable for teachers. They can fundraise because we've actually seen that too. We've seen teachers want to create a fundraising mission for supplies for their school. I mean, I know there's other sites out there like Donors Choose. We've never like marketed ourselves as that, but they have done it because it's all functional.
But to be fair, I mean, I've looked at a number of these other sites, and you got to jump through a lot of hoops to just like get your profile up there, put all the stuff in. And from what you explained about fundraising with GoEnnounce the last time we spoke, it just sounds so much easier and streamlined to say, basically, I want money, and here's how you can give it to me.
Yeah,
in a responsible way.
We make it pretty easy, and we're also still the lowest fee out there because we are like education based. So it's only a 3.5% fee, which all the other crowdfunding platforms really range between 4.5% and 9%.
Right, and then I mean, hey, it's less than the sales tax in New Jersey, so we can't complain.
Yeah.
All right, so now up here in the presentation, you have information about pricing. So the dollar rules all. So let's talk about what this costs.
Yeah, so for Tier 1, which Tier 1 is the GoEnnounce platform for a year license for the school's students, and also the 10-course digital footprint curriculum that goes along with it, and the pre-test and post-test. This also comes with training for the educators in the beginning of the year, which we've gotten a lot of feedback that that's very important because they're to buy something like this. They want someone to come in and train their teachers on the platform and also the curriculum and how they can use it and where it's being used. So that's at $3,000 a high school and $1,500 a middle school. And Tier 2, which moves into more of those digital courses for students to certify them in digital footprint education with their micro credentials. It goes into $6,600 per high school. We're also willing to work with the high schools. We've learned that a lot of high schools are building out their own badging systems of things that they want their students to get credentialed for. So we will be able to pull those as well and have those live on the students' pages, and students can take courses right through there if they want. So we're going to be able to customize what we're doing with each district in, obviously certain aspects of things that are already happening.
Flexibility is key, and the opportunity to integrate with other in-place platforms and just what's already happening in districts. I mean, that's definitely a check mark in your favor. Yeah,
and again, like even Tier 1, when we're just talking about the GoEnnounce platform and the the curriculum, we haven't, when you break it down at like price per student, when you're talking about one high school, say it's 1,000 kids at one high school, which is, pretty average. It's, $3 a student for college career. It's really seen under the college and career readiness and also digital citizenship. Some schools, obviously, as you know, in districts don't have a digital citizenship budget, but we are finding that it's really coming through in the CTE budgets and also like the college readiness budgets in different districts around the country. Because and that's actually been something now that we've gone out with this new pricing model. We haven't really seen a lot of or any pushback so far, knock on wood. I'm sure we will. But it's been really encouraging that this is a tool every time we talk to someone, they're like, oh my gosh, we've been wanting to find a tool for this. We've been trying to bring in LinkedIn and had no structured way, or been trying to bring in Twitter or something to teach our students. And this is something way more conducive to them. So we haven't really seen any pushback, again, so far on it.
And this is
I'd love to know your feedback because I know you see a lot.
Well, I was going to say with the pricing, say for tier 1, which is $3,000 for a high school. That's I got 1,000 kids. I have 2,500 kids. It doesn't matter, or does it go?
Yeah, I mean, again, we've developed it this way because it's, obviously every district is different. Every school size is different. We do have a price per student model as well that we are willing to work with districts and schools. It just all is going to depend on when we start talking to them.
Even if it was just to have access to just your platform to have kids creating these profiles and teachers just got training, even if you took out everything else, like the 10-course digital footprint, just by having students create relevant social media profiles and have access to the scholarships. And I mean, that is well worth the price to give every student in your school access. Now you're throwing in, well, hey, now you can also actually learn digital citizenship. And again, when we first spoke, there was no curriculum. This really didn't exist. It was like, it's coming, right. It's in development. Right. And I've since we spoke, I've seen people talking about GoEnnounce. I brought it up to some of the teachers in my own school at the start of this school year as, hey, this might be something to check out for like our seniors and even the juniors. I went to some class advisors. I don't know if anybody ran with it, but I certainly did my part to share what I could.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And this just makes it a lot easier now that we have these packages available and what we're offering for them. I mean, again, it's very difficult to sell a software to a district that you have no structure in how to use it. Right. It's hard for them to give it to their teachers. And that's really what we, probably when we met at ISTE, that's where we were at. We had something that people wanted, but we had no structured way to give it to them.
Yeah, when we first met, it was just, it's LinkedIn for students.
Yeah, yeah.
And that by itself is fantastic. But now, I mean, this is good stuff.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. I was happy to be able to talk to you and really kind of give you an update at where we are and get your feedback as well, because again, I know you see so much. I just want to run you through. So tier 3 this is the pricing for tier 3. It's incorporating everything in tier 2. So it's at the 6,600. And these are just the prices per teacher. So it's $12 per teacher to give teachers access to the content of the PDLN badges. It's $12 per teacher, and then it's $72 per teacher to be able to issue the badge and also the metadata to host it on the GoEnnounce teacher pages. Districts are given a roster of the badge certification, $300 per teacher for the bundle of all 10 badge lessons. So feedback within that we've got, and I'm not well-versed in teacher professional development by any means. But so feedback on that we've gotten is that's pretty cheap. Where again, I was like, oh, that's great to know.
No, that's good. I mean, because this isn't professional development that districts typically provide for teachers. I know where I am, the PD we get is a lot of sit and get, it's by department. And it's all based on pedagogy and what am I going to do and change in my classroom? And this gives teachers different professional development that they're not getting, or they're only getting if they go to ed camps and stuff.
Learning about, that's what we're excited about, because we feel like this is such and we, again, got a little lucky, I want to say, with how hot of a topic digital citizenship and digital footprint is right now. And we had a tool that could be used for it. And again, got really lucky. But we really took some time to figure out, okay, well, how can we help teachers understand it better? Adding these, kind of partnering with this other company has really helped us with that. And then how do we make it easier for students to learn about it? Where if they, for some reason, aren't getting it through their district, we want to make them understand the importance of it by just using it on its own. So incorporating the badging in there for them and maybe to be able to take the digital course is why we added that. But again, for a district, it's very useful too, because then if for some reason they don't bring in the 10 lessons that we have, because those are things that the teachers actually have to do, they can have their students, if they're using GoEnnounce already, they can have them take this digital lesson on their own.
Nice. It's all good. Presentation's good. The data is good, and the product it's even better than when we first spoke. And it was good then.
So we're really excited for ISTE, and we're really excited to meet as many educators that are interested in this, and as many kind of administrators at the district level as well that are looking for resources and tools for their college and career readiness programs that we can be useful for.
Now, for ISTE this year, what is your presence going to be like as a company?
Well, since we decided we were going today, we're still actually working that out. Tomorrow we have a team meeting on what exactly we're going to do. We might be hosting some kind of event, and if we will, I will definitely be letting you know about that and having you help us spread the word about that. We might kind of be just hosting kind of some meetup happy hour where people can learn more about it, talk to us. We'll definitely be hanging out in the Blogger Cafe a lot, giving demos to people, showing them what we have. Talked about briefly today for a second, seeing if there was any way we could get some kind of booth. But we typically like to do the little bit more guerrilla style where we're really kind of chatting with people more, it's easier for me to find who exactly I want to talk to at ISTE than let them find me.
I know you popped up like a ninja last year.
So we're probably just going to we've developed a lot of, we call them digital image champions. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, they're really advocates and ambassadors for us. And so are really kind of hanging out with them and getting them to kind of introduce us to certain people. That's probably what we're going to be doing at ISTE.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm skimming over this last slide too. Now, would I be able to get a copy of this or a version of these new features that I could include on my site and even just share out to people?
Yeah, definitely. We have a little bit smaller of a version of it that maybe you'd want, that wouldn't be like so much for somebody to go through. But,
like an infographic?
What?
Like an infographic?
Yeah, it's like just like 5 slides. I don't know. Would slides be something that you could link to?
I could embed it in the show notes.
Okay.
In the episode that this appears in, which as I record this, again, I don't know.
Or an infographic, we can have possibly someone develop that and just kind of link to that too.
So to refresh people's memories, what are the ways that people can reach out to GoEnnounce, connect with you, and find out how they can bring what you guys are doing into their schools and districts?
Yeah, so I would be one of the best people to contact. And my email is just Meghan, MEGHAN, at GoEnnounce.com. And that's
Don't forget
Meghan,
the H, people.
MEGHAN.
Don't forget the H.
Yeah, don't forget the H or you won't find me. And GoEnnounce is GoEnnounce. And our Twitter handle is just at GoEnnounce as well. And that's always a great place to reach us too. We communicate with teachers and educators all the time on Twitter. We love Twitter and what it's done for us. I'm not going to lie about that.
You guys have a good digital presence and a good digital footprint.
Yeah,
Go
try
figure.
to be. But yeah, and I would love to walk anyone through that's interested in bringing this to their district through a lot of the same demo that I just walked Chris through. We're really looking for, feedback on what we're doing, any ways that we can make it better, always, and learning about how we can bring this into your district.
Now, actually, here's one last question that I thought of. When you connect with districts, what person in a school district are you typically connected with or working through?
Yeah, that's a great question,
who should
because
be
that's
reaching
something
out
that
to you?
I've had to learn very quickly as well. So it's been different everywhere, to be honest. Director of Education Technology, Chief Academic Officer, whoever is in control of the CTE and the college and career readiness budgets is a lot of the times bringing in those special programs. So those are the three main ones that we've really been talking to right now.
So like assistant superintendents for curriculum, directors of guidance.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of those, directors of guidance are great because they love the scholarship aspect of it and like letting kids find new activities and having a place to track and share everything. So yes, directors of guidance are wonderful. Directors, like how I was saying, chief academic officer, they, and also one got brought to my attention today was, I want to say, the director of curriculum and professional development. That was another one because they liked what we were doing with the teachers and student aspect.
And then that's for like a lot of these new features, but ultimately Mr. Jones in B205 can tell his kids to go to GoEnnounce.com and kids can just do that on their own. Yes.
But again, now we're really trying to push but even just GoEnnounce on the districts because we think that, kids should be creating, like we were talking about before, kids should be creating these pages. And if the teachers aren't really holding them accountable for it, then, it's really unfortunate that no one is.
Right.
So,
if they're not being taught digital citizenship, then they're not learning digital citizenship. So I guess so Mr. Jones and B205, don't just send your kids to GoEnnounce.com. Don't do it.
I mean, they can, and we'll teach them, and we want kids to still sign up, obviously, but we think it's very important for them to now be bringing it into the education system, obviously, and using, we think that we have a pretty good tool for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for reaching out, and I'm glad I could bring you back on for a few minutes tonight.
Thank you for chatting with me and letting me come on again. This is awesome.
Hey, that's what we do here on the House of EdTech. And now it's time for this episode's House of EdTech VIP. Congratulations to Dr. Greg Goins. Greg Goins is a school district superintendent from Southern Illinois. He is also an adjunct professor and podcast host who is passionate about reimagining schools. He's an innovative school leader who is also a dynamic presenter, and he has presented passionately about digital leadership and the Future Ready Schools movement. In 2016, Dr. Goins has presented and spoken about connected leadership, reimagined schools, learning spaces, social media in schools, community engagement, EdCamp planning, as well as digital tools for administrators. Dr. Goins' podcast, The Goin Digital Show, is a podcast for K-12 leaders that is part of the Teach Cow Educational Broadcast Network over on teachcow.com. The show features many of the nation's top school superintendents, principals, and education innovators in public education, and it was named a new and noteworthy podcast in iTunes. Please connect with Dr. Goins. He is on Twitter. His username is WFSuper, and that's WFSUPER. Check out his website, drgreggoins.com, and that's drgreggoins.com. And that's also where you can find his podcast, The Goin Digital Show. Congratulations, Greg. You are a House of EdTech VIP. And that is going to do it for this episode of the House of EdTech. This was a fun episode to do, again, as I recorded a good portion of it here from John Adams Middle School, the site of EdTechNJ 2016. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for all those from my session who participated and came on to the show. Thank you to Meghan Davis for taking the time to come on Skype and give us an update about GoEnnounce.com. I hope you check that out. It's a really valuable platform, and digital citizenship is very important. Keep the conversation going and visit the website, chrisnessy.com, and chrisnessy.com/62 is going going to contain all the links and show notes for this episode that we shared today. Also want to give another shout out to this episode's sponsor. Support again came from audible.com, and you can pick up your 2 free audiobooks and a 30-day free trial for Audible's awesome service. Get yourself access to over 180,000 audiobooks and audio content by going to chrisnessy.com/audible. And of course, I would love to connect with you and hear your thoughts on the information and resources that were shared in this and of course every episode. The easiest way to do that is to go to chrisnessy.com, click on Share Feedback, and that's going to give you access to my email and all the ways that you can connect with me. The fastest way, of course, is Twitter. I'm Mr. Nessie on Twitter, and just use the hashtag House of EdTech, so that way I will see those tweets. And if you enjoy the show, and if you got this far or you've ever listened, of course you do. So I'd like you to do 2 things. Number 1, go tell somebody. Tell somebody that, hey, summer's coming, and if you want to get caught up on a lot of things EdTech related, to go check out the House of EdTech. Because word of mouth is one of the best ways that you can share podcasts that you love. The second thing you can do to help out is to rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Your rating and honest review will help keep the House of EdTech front and center for others to enjoy. And I do need to thank everybody who has left a rating and a review because it's working. In the last 2 weeks, the podcast has climbed the charts and is now consistently in the top 20 of the education technology category, and the show has been as high as number 8 amongst all education technology podcasts. So thank you so much for everything that you do to help to share and spread the word about the podcast. You can also support the show by going to patreon.com, and if you want to become an awesome supporter, go to chrisnessy.com/awesome. The next episode of the House of EdTech, number 63, will be released on June 19th, 2016. So, until next time, thanks for joining me, and remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try.
The House of EdTech is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. The Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more, go to edupodcastnetwork.com.